There's no way on a teacher's income, short of working 3 jobs and never sleeping, there is no way you can pay off $250,000 on $58,000. The math doesn't work.
I made a huge mistake in going to Boston University for school. Between Bentley and BU, I took in about $250,000 of student loans for an education degree that I'm not using. I'm not teaching. I'm working at a bank. I'm lucky to be employed, but the $207,000 of that is in default. My payment was supposed to be $2,200 a month. I make $58 a year. I just simply don't make enough to make that kind of payment.
My balance when I started teaching was $85,000. $85,000, and that amount I could not pay it off. Okay, I could not get $85,000 paid off on a teacher's income in the low 40s. There's no way on a teacher's income, short of working 3 jobs and never sleeping, okay, which is going to take a medical toll, there is no way you can pay off $250,000 on $58,000. You just, the math doesn't work, okay, unless you've got someone that can pay for all of your necessities and you're living in everything else until that bill is paid off. It doesn't mathematically work. This is really bad. I feel horrible for this young man.
So I guess I'm wondering, especially during these circumstances where, I hear Dave talk about being a gazelle and trying to take care of this as quickly as possible.
You can't on this. I'm a teacher. Trust me, if I could pay off $85,000 and could have kept it from getting to $110,000, I would have done it. This guy's got 8, 6. Jesus, this guy's got 3 times more than what I have. This is about as bad of a student loan situation as I've heard of.
I was driving Uber. I was, I play piano part-time, and, for the better part of a year, I guess it'll be a year next month, all of that has been completely decimated.
None of that's going to pay off $250,000. I know if Ramsey were here, he'd say, well, just eat beans and rice. You can have this knocked out in 2 years. No, you cannot. And I consider myself at this age to be pretty darn fiscally responsible. You can't do it. It's not enough money. Uber, playing a little extra piano, can't do it.
I guess I will say on top of that, like the Uber thing, I got into a car accident a few months ago and got a concussion. So,
see, this is something, I'm glad he said this. This is something people don't think about when they do things like Uber, or you always hear, hey, all you have to do is just, rent property out. Buy a piece of property, just rent it, it'll be a piece of cake. Nothing is as easy as it seems. Nothing. First off, if you drive for Uber, you better tell your insurance company. Because if you're using your car for any sort of business purpose and you have not notified your insurance company, they can deny any and all claims because you were not covered under a business insurance policy. And don't think, by the way, you can hide it from them. Remember, I used to work in insurance. All they have to do is, they know who all the big car driving service companies are. All they have to do is just call them up. Is this person registered with you? Oh, yeah. Carrie was registered with Uber. Okay, when was she on duty for driving? Well, she was on duty for driving at the same time this accident happened. You're not going to hide it from your insurance carrier. And it can also give them a reason to drop you as well for not being honest about it. Before people think that all these different, I'm just going to rent property, talk to the landlords who couldn't, and some still can't, get non-paying tenants out of their place. Nothing is as easy as it seems.
Car's gone for now, too. So I guess one, what are these? I mean, in your experience, have you heard any stories about what these creditors actually do? I mean, I'm paying them $400 a month, but obviously that's a drop in the bucket.
Okay, we don't even need to hear from what is it, John and Anthony. I can tell you exactly what creditors will do. For those that are in default, and if you do not get it out of default, they will come after you with a wage garnishment. This is why you are better off getting it out of default. Also, his $400 a month, this bill is just going to get bigger, bigger, and bigger. My concern here, he says, he has $250,000 student loans. $400, that's not even, that's not even not just interest, but that's not even a pebble drop. So this bill is going to just explode. Mark my words, this bill is exploding. This was 2 years ago. This bill has exploded.
It's kind of a nightmare scenario.
Now, you need a bigger shovel. Okay.
Okay.
We need to get your income up because
Right.
you're not going to be able to pay it off, making $55,000, $58,000 a year.
I understand that the Ramsey Show promotes the bigger shovel. Sometimes, from where you're at, though, and the size shovel that you need to be at, there is such a wide gap between that sometimes it's not a bigger shovel you need, but you need it's work smarter, not harder. Now, if you've watched my channel, you'll probably know exactly where I'm going to go. Telling him to get a bigger shovel is working harder. Work harder, work harder. Why don't you work smarter? Use your teaching degree. You have a degree in education. Even if you don't teach in the exact area of specialty, they will give you a contract. Usually you have 2 years to teach in a separate field. You're still in education, but instead of teaching math, you'll teach science, and then you have a 2 year agreement to earn. This is such a wide disparity that he needs to work smarter, not harder. And like I've said before, here's something that people forget. So first off, he has an education degree. Go into friggin' education. Do it for 10 years. Okay? Do it for 10 years. You'll work 9 months out of the year. This is called working smarter, not harder. During the couple months you have off during the summer, do what many of us teachers do. Pick up a little side gig, okay? And take that money and pocket it, all right? Here's the other thing about working smarter, not harder. By becoming the teacher that he majored in, that he holds a degree in, he can stay on income based. Those $2,000 a month payments out the door. Out the door. He doesn't have to worry about trying to come up with, I think, what was it he said, 2,200 or something like that. And that's just to try to cover the interest plus dig into the principal. They'll take his $400 and they'll make it even lower on income based. He'll probably pay around $300, $350, and I'm not kidding. Remember, I only had my student loans wiped out in 2022. God, it seems like ages ago, though. For whatever reason, it's like I just had them ages ago. No, they were literally just wiped out last summer. Okay? So again, my emphasis is to work smarter, not harder. So he becomes the teacher that he has a degree in. All right. And I'm assuming he's not broken any laws, so they wouldn't give him a teaching certificate or a license or anything like that. Okay. So assuming all of that is good. Okay. He becomes that teacher, and now he gets to comfortably stay on income based. It is okay if the $250,000 racks up into $300, $350. It's all right. Because as long as he completes 10 years, he will get loan forgiveness. And I don't want him or anybody else going, oh, you know what, that stuff is just all a bunch of baloney. No, it really does exist. And I'll be totally honest, being in education is one of the safest areas to pretty much assure you're going to get forgiveness. It really is. Okay? Public school teacher. Public school. Okay, if you go into private school, that can get a little bit trickier if this private school is for profit or not. Your safest bet, you want to get this loan paid off, 10 years public service. Okay, you have a degree in it, and that's what I would tell him to do. That $400 a month payment, I guarantee you, will drop because it's going to be based on his income, not on how much he owes. Not only does that drop, and he can just ignore the fact that the interest is piling on. I ignored mine. It went from 85 to 110, but I knew what track I was on. And here's the other kicker. When he's done in 10 years, he walks away with the state pension that he's now vested in. That to me is working harder. That to me is working smarter, not harder. Okay? And because there's such a disparity in what he makes, okay, where he's at and where his income is. Okay, people can say, well, he just needs to get a really well-paying job. Great. How easy is it for any of us to land a 6-figure paying job that doesn't take years and years and years to begin with to get into? It's not like they're handing these jobs out like candy. So when people go, just start applying and start going for a job that makes $150,000, and then we're going to take that, and you live on half it, you'll have this thing paid off in 4 years. No. So that's my suggestion. Work smarter, not harder. And if this isn't a great case of working smarter, not harder. Oh, but back to my point really quickly, I almost forgot about with Uber. People forget, all the risks with some of these seemingly easy side gigs. I only spend a few minutes a day in my car because I live really close to work. But if I decide to go for Uber, now I could be spending hours in my car. Now I have more wear and tear on my vehicle. I increase the risk of an accident. I have to pay more for insurance because I have to make sure that's covered, yada, yada. All right? It's stuff like that.
We need to get your income up.
Right.
All right.
He needs to work smarter, not harder.
Especially with $400 a month payment. So what's your career right now?
Okay, and let's remember that $400 a month payment, that's supposed to be about $2,200 a month.
I work at a bank in finance.
All right. What did you go to school for?
Elementary education.
Okay.
So,
all right. So,
yeah, why they approved that, $250,000 is beyond me.
Hey, hold on though, Max. Hold on. Let's don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They approved the $250,000 because you are a legal adult when you sign the contract to pay it. They also approved it because it's guaranteed by the government. I've told my audience on this channel many, many times, and I will continue to preach it. The student loan people, the banks, the schools, they are not watching your pocketbook. The only person watching your pocketbook is you. That's it. And maybe some very, very close and trustworthy relatives and very close and trustworthy friends, if you're willing to listen to them. That's about it. So he says, I don't know why they let me do it. Because they don't care about your budget. Students, you've got to get this into your heads. They don't care. Okay, yes, they will let you jump off a cliff as long as you sign the promissory note that they can get their guaranteed payment by Uncle Sam. Now, I'm sure he didn't mean it literally, as to why did they, holding them responsible. But until students really start to understand, they don't give a rip what you think of the mascot. They don't give a rip what you think of, the family history and everything else. They don't care about that. You're a number to them. You are a body in a chair. You take up so much space. You give them so many dollars. Those dollars get relayed to the federal government. The federal government says, okay, fine, no problem. Charge whatever you want to go to school. We'll make sure it's paid back. That's why they gave you the money. You were a guaranteed paycheck. This is why we need to get the emotion out of attending a school, and we need to start putting logic into it, and why community colleges need to be promoted, okay, and raised up on the scale. All right? That's why. We need people to go to community colleges. What he should have done is, 2 years community college, 2 years in state school. There you go. This amount for a teaching degree is obscene.
Let's take full ownership of where we're at, okay?
Yeah.
Let me back up.
Elementary education.
Okay.
So,
all right. So,
yeah, why they approved that, $250,000 is beyond me.
Hey, hold on though, Max. Hold on. Let's don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's take full ownership of where we're at, okay?
Yeah. You signed it, bro.
Sure.
I mean, and it's
absolutely.
You're normal. You know what I'm saying? You're normal. I signed for student loans.
I did too.
John signed for student loans.
I did too. We all did.
So I mean, we're not.
It was the stupidest thing I've ever done.
Well, I mean, we've all done.
We all been there. So let's put that down and let's move on to solving the problem now, right?
Yeah. So.
Sounds good.
All right. So you're making $58,000 a year in the banking institution. All right. You saying you cannot drive for Uber. What else can you do? So you have an education. Can you go home and tutor online right now?
Tutor ain't gonna get you squat. See, here's the problem. I can shoot down just about every side gig suggestion. Okay? Being a teacher for 18 years, knowing what teachers make, knowing the situation that he's 3 times I'm in. There is no side gig. Think about it. He's got to come up with he has to come up with more than $2,000 a month just to meet interest, and I assume dip a little bit into the principal. That's $2,000 a month just for that. You tell me what full-time job along with a little bit of part-time job is going to give you that plus your cost of living and everything else. It's not. He's going to pull his head out. Pull his hair out trying to figure this out. It can't be done. It's a square peg trying to go into a round hole, and both of the pieces don't even fit each other.
Now, especially within your age bracket, Max, you can jump online and do some creative things to generate some income. All right.
How many people do you know have done creative things? Personally known. I'm not talking about the person you see on TikTok that you can't verify and the person who comes up with the YouTube channel that says, I made all this money. How many people do you personally know? You could call up on a phone, best buddies, you go out and have lunch and dinner together that you personally know that were short that much money, okay? $250,000 in the hole. All right, and was able to just miraculously say a little side gig covers that entire 2,000, and they go skipping into the rainbows. I don't know anybody like that. I know people with side gigs, they might bring in extra, 500, 800,000. This guy needs something that brings in a couple thousand if he's also going to support his living as well.
Right now, you need to step back and have a game plan. How are you going to generate another $25,000 a year? Because check this out. If you could generate another $25,000 a year, you can attack this debt and be debt free within the next 3 to 4 years.
No. Nope. Gonna disagree on that. We're back to that. We don't need 30-year mortgages if people can get out. If people can do that. We don't need 30-year house mortgages. This is a house. $250,000. It's 2.5 of my condos. 2.5. For me to pay off my mortgage, my little condo mortgage, okay? And I've said it before, I did have a little bit of help, of assistance with, a late parent and stuff, but I still had about a $50,000 mortgage. For me to work my full-time teaching job, work a little part-time job, okay, work in the summer along with the little part-time job. I mean, I was pretty much working all the time. I was working 10, 11, sometimes 12-hour days. Okay, that took me 2.5 years, and that was just to knock out 45,000. This guy has 250,000. There comes a point where we have to understand that the human body can only do so much, and he learned that through his Uber thing, using the car for Uber and getting into an accident with that. You can only do so much. You can only stay awake so many hours. You can only, work so many hours. I know people say, oh yeah, well, hold 2 full-time jobs. I did that once in my 20s, and I got so sick after 4 months I had to quit. I was working 70 hours a week, and it was just killing me to do it. And I was in my 20s, and I had 2 good knees at that time. This is why I say he needs to work smarter, not harder.
Because I'm going to show you how to pretty much negotiate. I'm going to give you access to my book, Destroy Your Student Loan Debt. So when we hang up, once you stay on the line, Kelly's going to send you that book for free on John and I. It's really on me because it's my book, but I love John.
I'm happy to take credit.
Yeah. But I'm going to show you how to refi it, how to get it out of collections, how to refi it, and how to come up with creative ways to negotiate some type of settlement offers within this thing. Now,
I'm assuming these are federal loans, or at least part federal, maybe a mixture of federal and private.
And not be able to settle it. I'm not saying you will be, but you might be able to. But the key thing for you right now is making your shovel larger as far as in getting your income. So this is what
the first thing he needs to do is to get that loan out of default by calling the Fresh Start student loan program. I'm positive that's what it's called. If not, you can go to FAFSA. I'm 99% positive it's called the Fresh Start. Just call your provider and say, I need to get my loan out of default. What program? I believe it's called Fresh Start. Okay. That's the first thing he needs to do. He needs to get it out of default. Then he needs to actually use his degree. And let me tell you, elementary education, for a male to go into elementary education, that's like a gem. That's like a diamond, because there are so many women in education, and we all know that it gets oversaturated. I mean, I love us ladies, folks, but really, if a male teacher that can deal with kids and can be a fantastic teacher, that's a gem. That really is, okay? And so he would definitely have a leg up there. And I'm not sure why he's not doing it. I really don't know why. But like I said, 10 years of public service, he can safely stay on income base. Safely. He doesn't have to worry about the debt going up. And after 10 years, he will be vested in the state that he stayed in. And people, please remember, just because you're doing public service, I think people sometimes think that public service means you can never leave that school, that job, and you are there for life. That's not the way it works. He could do 2 years at one school and then decide he wants to move and to another state, go apply at that state, get a job, and then do 2 years there. It commits you to 10 years of public service anywhere within the U.S. government, military. He could join the military, work overseas as a U.S. in the military. Guess what? That counts. It's public service. He could work a civilian job for the military in Germany. It counts. It's public service. People need to expand their idea on what they think public service is. They tend to think, oh my God, you got to you got to do it like I did. I stay at the same school and I'm there for 18 years later. I just happen to really like my school, so there's no reason for me to fix it. Okay, I don't fix what's not broke. But some people think they think of it like indentured servitude and you can never leave. Absolutely not. He could go into teach education and then decide in 4 years, you know what, I want to go take a government job overseas. As long as you are on United States payroll taxes, you are paying on it. You're just simply working overseas. It all counts as U.S. government. The key is you need to be paying U.S. government taxes. It needs to be designated as government, nonprofit, military work. And that's something this student loan, not your student loan provider. Forget the idiots that take your paycheck. I'm talking the Department of Education is where you want to go. Like FAFSA.gov. That's where you go.
What are we going to do? We're going to give you 2 books. Actually, I'm not going to give you 2 books. I'm going to give you 1 book, and then I'm going to tell you, you need to go listen to our good friend Ken Coleman. We call him the shovel guy, okay? Because he's going to show you how to turn his $58,000 and maybe turn it into $100,000. Because he's a pro at teaching people how to make more money, how to get into their sweet spot. So you have a shovel problem, and then from there, you need to go ahead and get Gazelle Intense, and I'm going to show you how to take that shovel and get out of debt. You feel me?
Well, maybe I was just dumb, but I thought I was pretty Gazelle Intense working full time. Then I did a little part-time job after school also. And then when the summer came and I didn't teach during the summer, then I took on summer school and continued the part-time job. And I still keep my little part-time gig today. Okay. So, I appreciate the Gazelle Intensity for drive of $100,000 and all of that stuff, but maybe perhaps I just live a little bit more what I think is logical and what I think is realistic. Okay?
Yeah. So we really can't lay out too much for you right now. But the key thing is you got to get on a clear budget. For the next 3 to 5 years, max, you are broke. Okay? You don't have time to... Are you single or are you married?
I'm actually getting married in December.
You get married in December?
Well, God bless her.
Okay. How much debt does she have?
As far as I know, 0.
As far as you know, you ain't talked to her
As far
about
as
her
you know,
debt
you're
yet?
getting married. Have that conversation today, Max.
You propose without knowing.
Certainly doesn't have the student loan issue that I do.
It doesn't matter. You need to find out what's her credit card debt. Does she owe family members her to come knocking on the door, a week after you get married and go, remember that $50,000 you said you'd pay us back for the wedding? You should know.
Oh, yeah, but she may have car loans. She may have some. Yeah. Well,
no car loan.
Okay, cool. Well, just ask her. Ask her. Do you have any debt outside of a mortgage?
And this is why he's $250,000 in debt in an education degree. Do you see the connection? Do you see the connection there? I don't want to insult him or anything, but do you see the connection?
Just ask her. And then see now that just brings up another thing right there.
Right.
You have
2 incomes
attacking
this
debt. You have 2 incomes attacking this debt. You can.
Oh, and is she prepared to stay up all night and work 2 jobs and work Gazelle Intensity also? Something I realized after my ex decided to leave is it seems At least when he left initially, okay? I remember thinking, how the hell am I ever supposed to make it financially? How am I ever supposed to right my ship, right my course? But what you sometimes find, not always, okay? Not always. Nothing is ever always, all right? But in my situation, I found it was easier to right the ship being single, because now I had 100% say on how my finances were going to work. I had 100% control. I designated it for this. It went there. I said it was going to go here. It went there. And that's just something to think about. And if he's really unsure about the debt of his fiance, that tells you why or how he got into the situation he's at here. I mean, I don't want to equate, his fiance, a human being, with a student loan debt. But if we are talking about responsibility and knowing what you're stepping into financially, you really need to know.
Go out there and generate some more. What does she do for a living?
She works for the state of Jersey right now.
Oh, so she's making pretty decent money then, with some good benefits.
Yeah, they're doing all right. I mean,
she's probably making better benefits. Oftentimes when you work for the state, city government, the benefits, if you can stay there long enough, okay, can make up for some of the piss poor pay that you get.
she's only working 1 day a week. I don't know, something about them not being able to distribute laptops for last year, which is a little ridiculous. But
well, she's going into the office 1 day a week, but is she working from home?
No, I mean, I don't know what their team came up with, but yeah, basically they're going into the office 1 day a week, and that's it for now until this kind of calms down. It's beyond me. I haven't.
All right, so hey, Max.
See, and that's the problem. That is the problem. It's a lack of understanding what he's stepping into, because I can't tell. Is she only working 1 day a week? Period. Like, that's the payroll, is 1 day a week. Is she working full time and 1 day a week is in the office? Does he see her working at home? Usually you would know. Do you see the connection problem? You see the connection problem. He steps into things without really understanding what's happening. Now, we've all been there. So I got no rocks I can throw there. But you're seeing it in the way he's treating this, how he got himself into a $250,000 debt with education. You're seeing it in his relationship. Well, does your fiance have debt? Well, I guess she doesn't, from what I know. Okay. Does your fiance work full time? Well, I really don't understand. No, hell, if we're going to be doing this, you better know if I'm working full time. You better know. Okay. I should be able to show you. Here you go, honey. Here's my paycheck. You see, I'm working full time. He should know, but instead he's kind of dismissing it. He's dismissing it. I've never heard of somebody marrying someone who doesn't know really what their potential partner does for a living. I've never known or met anyone who is engaged and has no idea if their partner even works full-time or part-time, because it's just all too complicated. Well, if that's all too complicated, then I guarantee this young man, his name's Max, I guarantee it's going to be too complicated for him to figure out how to be gazelle intensity to pay off this $250,000 loan. I guarantee it will be too complicated. If figuring out what his fiance does for a living, all right, not saying he's got to know the intricate details of her job, but do you work full time? You work 30 hours a week. Do you have benefits? Do you have a pension coming? If that's too much work for him to figure out, or to even want to figure out, don't send the 2 books. It'll be a waste of your time. Okay. And this $250,000, and this was 2 years ago, it's grown. Guaranteed. It's grown. There's just a slight, I won't say it's lazy, okay, but for all intents and purposes, there's certain laziness, I think, in him wanting to find out information. It's like he wants to just kind of live, he wants to see what he wants to see, and then as the problems come up, then he'll deal with it. And this is where he's at.